Go. Dive.
Hello. There you go.
This is why you always check.
Does my head in. Right. Should all be at hearers, hopefully, maybe, possibly. Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming. I've got to get this bloody recorded and just put it out there. Oh, I'm getting an animated logo coming soon. Hey, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I was talking to the animator at the weekend. It's cool. I can't wait. My friend all the way from Egypt. Right, so, what was I saying? What we're doing? Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming. We're an RPG channel. We play lots of RPGs. DnD5e, Pathfinder, Carbon 2185, Masks, Tales of the Loop. We've done Vampire the Masquerade. We've done Aliens. We've done charity streams. We've done lots of stuff, all based around tabletop and RPGs. A lot of our friends, a lot of our sponsors actually, are all people that craft for RPGs and such. So we'll get to them in a second. If you've got social media and check us out, we're everywhere. Type into the internet or message Bill Gates and he'll say, go check out Heavyweight Gaming. Just type it into that little searchy bar and you'll find us. Ish, maybe, possibly. But we're there. We are sponsored tonight. It's heavily sponsored by Loke Battle Mats. Stupidly good artists that make maps in A3, A4, A5, flip out books. You put them on your table. Bang! You've got a tundra, a forest, a arcane circle, a dungeon that you can run around with your players and, well, your DM if you want to buy it for them. Check them out. They're amazing. They also do the digital versions of every bit of work they do on DM's Guild. Some are free, some are pay what you want, some are a set price. They've done a Towns and Taverns since releasing their original, and they've done a Wilderness since releasing their original, which was beginning of this year and a really successful Kickstarter. So go check out Loki Batmats. We have Coyote Grey, who the only place he sells his artwork as chibi tokens is the Roll20 Marketplace. Excuse me. But if you go to the Roll20 Marketplace and buy them, you can download them and you can use those tokens on your other digital games, but you do have to get them from Roll20. Really cool. I'm obsessed with chibi artwork. I love it. It's super cute, and the only thing I associate the word cute with. So we have to have them in the heavyweight gaming world. So check out a lad called Rob, Coyote Grey. Amazing. I think he's on Twitter as rburson, RBURSON. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, go check out Coyote Grey. Really cool. And he's just done a few months ago a Cyberpunk token set as well, so they're really cool, which I obviously bought and used in our Cyberpunk game. We also have Ashana, who is a glass crafter. Really cool glass crafter. She makes figurines. It is the most chilled out, meditative stream you'll ever watch. She's just there with a blowtorch. I know that sounds really relaxing. And some small tools, making very small glass figurines. They're really cool. She's trialed D&D miniatures. So you can go check them out on her Instagram at the same name, Ashana. She streams most nights. I think her schedule's changed for this new year due to the crapness of COVID and such. But schedule's a little bit random currently. But keep an eye out for her. Definitely one to watch when you're just chilling out on a weekend. So that's Ashana. We've got Ruffworx Creative, who is a beautiful Adonis of a man. Pretty sure we met in the Garden of Eden and he gave me an apple. But he's beautiful. He's also incredibly crafted with woodwork and leatherwork. Like, if you go check out his photo album on his Facebook page, Ruffworx Creative, hopefully there'll be there's a link. Look at this, these mods. Jeez. I don't know what paying soon. Go check him out on Facebook. Such a talent. He's been a friend of mine for nearly 20 years. Jesus. So talented, it's ridiculous. You'll never ever get a replica of anything he makes. It's all by hand and it's all one-offs. He's responsible. If you go check out the Heavyweight Gaming Facebook page and look at our photo albums and little videos, you will see me doing an unboxing of the Dungeon Master screen he made me, which has lions, lionesses and lion cubs carved into leather on the wood itself. I mean, fucking ridiculous. Go check it out. Absolutely amazing. So that's Ruffworx Creative. It is very great looking man. That's a China. Cool. We use Syrinscape for all our background music. It's this. I'd heard of it, never got to use it. Decided to use it because we were streaming a lot. Went and checked it out. It's really cool for setting that ambient backdrop for your players and your adventures, whether they be in a dungeon or a dragon fight or a bit of an emotional roleplay moment. Go check it out. It's amazing. What they also do is an app. that each of your players downloads, assuming you are the Dungeon Master, each of your players downloads whatever music you play goes through to their app, and they can hear what you're doing. So they can turn it up, down, whatever, how they so wish, and it's set to their perfect ambience instead of your choice. It's really cool. Just go check it out. And it has been, thus far, flawless. So we're not sponsored by them. I just highly recommend them. So if you get 200 bits, someone's already donated 200 bits. It was a lovely Rilly. I only know them as Ray, but we're going to go with Rilly. Donated 200 bits. If you donate 200 bits, this lot get a reroll. They can only hold 5 rerolls at one time. Once they've spent them, if you wish to throw more bits at them, we won't stop you, but they can only have 5 at one time. Got to use them this session, can't carry them over. So if at the end of the night they've got 3 left, they're wasted. So we encourage them to use them. You can't use them on my rolls, they can't use them on death saving throws. So that's that. If you go to DM's Guild, assuming I've got this bit right, and look for Tasha's heavier crockpot of bits and bobs.
Oh my god, he remembered.
I'm on a roll.
Don't
I'm on a
pick
roll.
on him now. He can do bad things to us.
It is, well, literally you can see it in the chat now. It's just short of $10, which I think's about $7.50 in English pounds, maybe British pounds.
Yeah, give or take.
It is full of subclasses, feats, 80 new spells, artwork, all from our little community of geeks and nerds who love this sort of stuff. And there's at least 200 copies sold. So go check it out. It is really, really cool. I'm very, very proud to even be remotely associated with the people that contributed to it. So go check it out. It's really, really cool if you're into D&D 5th Ed stuff. Or if you know someone that likes D&D 5th Ed, what's £7? Jesus. It's Father's Day sometime this year. Give them it. Don't have to be a father, but they'll enjoy the present. You will see on the screen McIntyre, providing support your way. McIntyre is a charity that deals with supporting children, young adults, and adults. There you go. Can't think of the third one. They currently got 1,200 plus people under their care, and they provide it's for those that category of folk that I just mentioned. Some of them have autism in various levels. Some of them require a bit of support just through their normal day, and McIntyre deal with that really, really well. A very, very good friend of mine who we happen to have dragged into our games on Fridays works for them, and we are going to raise a bit of money for them because we do it every year. And though so far, Heavyweight Gaming, so us lot as geeky nerds, fuck running a marathon, have thrown some games together. We've done a 24-hour stream, we've done a 48-hour stream, we've played lots of games, and we're currently £4,000 plus we've raised for several charities in the last couple of years. Birmingham Children's Hospital, Mermaids, Rainbow Trust and Mind. This year we're doing another 24-hour one-shot. It'll be in the world of Colossus, and it'll be for Ree and her friends over at Shortridge Tavern. I will Dungeon Master for them, and we will raise a few quid for McIntyre, hopefully. There will be a few giveaways going out, as we normally do. Mainly RPG stuff and source books and stuff to give away. So keep an eye out for that, and if you can throw a few quid at it, please do. If you can't, and your friend next to you's got a £5, take it off them and give it to us. And I'll be bigger than them, so don't worry about it. And donate it, and we'll pass it on to McIntyre. And that is on the 24th to the 25th of July. Gonna go with that until somebody corrects me. So, I think that's it. Is that it now? Have I done everything?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to
Leave? What? How dare you?
My lag is awful.
Why are you getting
That's
that?
camera and in-person lag, like real person lag.
Well,
You are right in saying 24th of July because I just clicked on the link.
I just wanted to give you notice before you yell.
There you go, and Reach
shout
has
at me.
confirmed that it's all 24th to 25th of July.
what are you wanting to do? Luke, are you wanting to reset something?
Yeah, I want to try and reset my camera
Give me a
because
sec.
I'm going through cake at the moment.
Give me
Back
a
a
sec.
sec.
See if this works. Oh, he's gone.
Entering the overlay. There we go.
Hey, I think that fixed it.
There we go.
There we go. Sorry.
And the
about that.
overlay wasn't ruined.
Oh, thank
Yes.
God.
because you're the last person in. So me and you can get
Yes,
away with
'cause
it,
it
but
died
anyone else,
earlier.
yep, anyone else will throw it out, including my ridiculous camera that won't focus. Right. So I think, are we done? We good? We all good?
Yeah.
Right. We'll have a recap of somewhere where we were. Right. So this lot, this beautiful bunch of coconuts, are in the Ivory Wall, the Great Wall that protects Ravenholm from a constant, perpetual attack from fiends, devils, demons, whatever you wish to call them, from the realm of Hellfire. And they've constantly attacked Ravenholm for generations now. Generations and generations. From the time of King Reinhardt, when he first created the Ravenholm Empire, and he was pushed back all the way to the nation now known just as Ravenholm. The wall was built. A soul borrowed aggressively from a dragon called Natathrin Sasha. This lot went into the wall to... It turns out that the wall was getting a bit of a whooping, more so than normal. The House of Eagles is the main house within this province that defends the wall, and there are other noble houses that also protect the wall alongside. The party have gone in there, they've made their way into the wall, they've experienced its different style of life compared to the rest of Ravenholm, and also been heavily involved in its defence. They were asked, politely, rhetorically, to go beneath the wall and see if anything could be done for the strengthening of the soul anvil that was harnessing Natathrin's soul, that give the wall its almost impenetrable-like power. There were cracks in the soul anvil because these demons, devils, they seem to have a bit more about them, and they are not just throwing themselves at the wall to die. They've started using strategy and tactics. Sickening. Absolutely sickening. Whilst down there, Ari and Kesvion decided to release Natathrin and let their soul fly free, and in their place they would stand. So the little soul of the little eagle and the little soul of the little tidal wave is now currently bound to the wall.
Dragon married.
They are dragon married. They have bound themselves on a soul deep level and are now enjoying, suffering from that particular bond. Heading back up into the main wall, the city that's in the wall itself. This lot have been trying to fight their way to the Rycroft residence to try and get information, to see if people are alive, just to get a general layout of what's going on with this siege. They fought their way through several minions of Hellfire. Had a word with Celestina, the second Eagle of the Wall. They then charged across a bridge into the noble residences, one being the Rycroft residency, into a pretty chonky fight. Cloud kills were used along the way. These large ashen-covered demons known as the Pale were swinging lightning orbs around, and lots was going on. Gothard, a school friend, a childhood friend of Ari, helped defend across the bridge, and there was several soldiers, several imps, two very large pale demons with a massive fight going on. Oh, there was also an 8-foot Goliath. Just happened to be swinging an axe and tarting it up. The fight went really, really well, as it happens. I don't believe any of you went down at all in that fight, and it's probably the first fight. Yeah.
Ruby is MVP.
So yes. So with some really, really quick magics, Ruby the Druid spent her turn dismissing or dispelling those very, very powerful lightning orbs that, lucky for you, you didn't get to experience the full cosmic power of. But it definitely swung the fight in your way. Several minutes, or well, like 48 seconds or something later, you killed everyone there. Having a little chinwag, chilling out for a bit, you are to enter the Rycroft residency fully and see what is going on up there with Aristotle's mother and father and the triage of healing they are doing up there. You received information, or at least Celestina received information and passed it on to you, that there is requests up, further up the wall, all the way to the far north. Bearing in mind, for those just joining us, the wall is 2 days long. If you were to walk across the top of it, it would take you 2 days to walk across the top of it. Requests have come into Celestina and the Eagle Iona that they want to evacuate the wall. They wish to fall back to Gieselfurt, which is an enormous fortress deeper into the province of Eagles, which was designed literally for this moment. The problem with that is the demons and fiends and such that are hitting the wall probably have quite a nice time ploughing through the forests after the evacuees. So this is why it's on a bit of a knife's edge at the minute. The call has not gone out to say yes, evacuate. At the moment, everyone's still fighting for their lives. You slowed the siege down by releasing the Tatharin. You also gave a massive boost to the defence of the siege by calling in your favour with Adarnus, one of the Batar of the elemental plane of air. Adarnus brought forth his air elemental army and basically helped while you went beneath the wall to do your dragon soul marriage. The power that it took to keep the elemental army there and send them back, or at least the remains of it, cost the elemental lord his elemental lord status power wise, and is now just a air elemental, air genasi, however you pronounce it, warrior, but has vowed to remain on the wall with those of the eagle and help defend it in honour of the favour called in by Kesvion. So it is about 10:15 at night. You are still on the same day you have been for about 8 sessions.
87 years ago.
We've been playing this session since like February. This has been a long ass day.
So
It might actually be a day long this day.
chat. So
It's a
chat.
good.
I just need to let chat know that music is about to play. Let me know if it's too loud, and I'll turn it down.
I'm pretty sure at least half the time I've been in this campaign has been this one day.
Pretty much,
Easy.
yeah.
Not far off. You spent more time on this day than you have the rest of the campaign.
Yeah.
Right, so there is a quietness in this particular section of the city within the wall. You are unaware of what's going on further up the wall, other than guesses of, well, we got hit hard, they definitely got hit hard, and the messages of evacuation doesn't bode well for the rest of the wall. There are times in the past, Ari, that you are aware that the wall has come close to maybe, a bit of umming and ahhing, but in the past it was just wave after wave after wave, and you've managed to repel it, or at least your people have managed to repel it. But this time is different. These pale demons, these vibrant demons, and this tactical awareness is goddamn focus. Is very, very different to what you're used to. Nala is left with Gothard out across this side of the bridge, so the resident side of the bridge, and with the remaining few soldiers from the battle you just had, they are basically not necessarily going to hold the bridge, but they are going to stay there to be at least eyes out and a bit of a speed bump to give you a lot of time to reinforce them if so needed. Going into the noble residences, there is the large fountain in front of you, and then the several stairways and walkways that lead off to this abstract layout of they're noble residences, but they don't come across as, well, we've got more money than you. They just happen to be in this particular area. The Rycroft residence is off to your right, the familiar stairs and doors and such, and the small gardens on your way in. And you can see a few of the house guard of the Rycroft residency, just kind of, not stood there on guard, kind of wandering freely, eyes out, spears in hand, short spears, because, it's far more tactical. It is over to you.
As they're walking, Ruby approaches Sapphire and says, I'm sorry for scolding and shouting before about acting without thinking. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's okay. We all do it. It happens. Like, it's one of those things. It's very easy when other people are doing things. But yeah, everything's fine, and he like claps her on the back.
She smiles as she sort of like bounced forward. I should turn myself in for murder, I know, but I see now you have to walk the circle.
I would like to say that for me, it was just a lapse of judgment. I felt very guilty afterwards as well, but reality is that I have been pretty devil may care since I arrived in this land, and it certainly taught me to think. I'm used to moving a lot faster than everyone else. I'm used to not having the time to think. I should take more time. And hey, you've already proven in the space of one combat that you've really, you really turned around. You were definitely important to that last one. I imagine a lot of us would be dead without you.
She nods, but and then shoots a more mischievous look at him and goes, "I'm an auntie.
You're a what?"
My sister had her baby."
He looks so confused. I mean, good. I'm really glad for you. How do you know that?
Oh, Nal told me she was in Toa.
Okay, that explains a lot about her. Wait, so... Okay, that's good. I mean, did you not... Did you travel together? Did you travel separately? Was it just coincidence that you ran into
Oh
another
no,
Toan?
she got one of the circles.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got a circle here from the she did one of those. I walked, and we still don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I do not know a great deal about this continent yet, but even I've seen a map, and you should not have been able to do that.
I couldn't see it from the wall. I was so confused, but I'm here now.
I mean, I recently saw someone pulled through a portal into Vey, so what do I know? Hell, I had someone punch me while I was meditating, in my meditation. So,
Ooh, that was nasty.
This world is weird. And ever since I've been in this land, things don't make a lot of sense.
At least the weather stopped messing around. I'm not still better.
As long as it's not raining, I'm happy. He kind of tentatively looks around. I'm used to snow or heat. I'm not used to that.
Ooh,
rain.
wait till you find out about sleet. You're not gonna like sleet or hail.
The shit is sleet.
Too wet to be snow, too cold to be rain.
His ears just droop. That's a nightmare. That means it will soak you and then freeze you.
Yeah.
Like, despite having almost died a fair few times in the last day, his eyes are now full of the fear. He didn't have the fear before. He doesn't like it. Okay, that's a new horror to experience. I've dealt with hail, but the hail usually comes down about fist size where I'm from, so you just don't go outside.
Are you all still talking around the fountain area?
Oh no, I've headed up the
We're
stairs.
walking.
This was sorry, intended to be as we were.
As we're walking.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Because I got pulled away from Nala, and I was like kind of glad for it.
So as you walk in and you enter the Rycroft residency, you see now that there has been fighting here quite heavily. There is no piles of the thick pasty ash, but there is quite a lot of... There is ash that could be creatures that can't sustain physical form here once destroyed. There are actual smaller imps that are still just dead and just in horrible positions on the floor, slumped over some of the furniture. Any soldiers or anything that may have fallen have been moved, and you see there is a rows and rows towards the far side of the dining hall where you first enter. When you come up the main corridor stairs and into the dining hall, where you all had lovely breakfast with Ari's mother. And you see rows and rows nice and neat of people that are covered up and have passed on to a different world. There is noise coming from up the stairs where your rooms were, Ari, and beyond the dining hall where there would be a almost lounge area that your family would gather for just chilling out. Not that there was very much chilling, as well, it's you. In the lounge area, you can just see beyond that the furniture has been moved to the sides and it's been given a large area. There are people performing basic first aid. You know what I mean? It is very much a small triage of injured and wounded here coming through here. You see your father and mother. Your mother is not hands-on, but she's doing what she does best, and that is the admin of the household. She's always been the one to... your mother is very much the head of the household and the thinker. She manages the situation she's in. She manages those around her, and she's got a bit of a talent for it. So no, she's not the one like covered in blood and guts, but she's doing very well at keeping those calm and on point, and she's doing what you expect her to do and negating any stress in a situation with just a few words. Not necessarily caring or warm. She's just very good at keeping people focused. Your father, despite being a bit of a career man, you still see elements of where you may have gained some of your roguish personality, and obviously down from your grandfather, but very much that's the sort of thing that you see in your dad when, you know, at Christmas when he's had a sherry. You could tell that he's been growing up. Your father's always been a bit of a career man, knowing that one day his sons would inherit the eagle status, not him. Partly because your granddad just wouldn't die, the hard bastard. But your father is hands-on. Despite his limp, that still seems to be there from this morning, he's very hands-on and getting stuck in, sleeves rolled up. The thing about the wall that you've all kind of noticed, but Ari's just normal to you, is the nobles don't dress like nobles. In fact, what you first saw Ari in, you now kind of worked out that Ari bought outside the wall, because everyone around here, that like it doesn't mean anything. The sashes tell you where you're from, the symbology, but there isn't a we've got more money than you, so our shirt's better than your shirt. They just live in the noble residences, and that's the only thing that gives them away as the nobles from a physical thing anyway. There's a couple of guards moving around in the dining hall. There is a couple of folk that just seem to be from the market areas out in the city that is obviously now in tatters, or at least this particular section, that are doing carrying of towels and such up and down the stairs to the rooms above, and ferrying around in the lounge area where the tending is going on. And every now and then you see your mother pulling him aside, giving him a bit of a word, and just every now and then that small hand on the shoulder or pat on the back as they walk past. And she goes about being very straight back again and such. The Rycroft residency is yours.
Just gonna go over to the lounge area. Take a deep breath and approach his mother.
Okay.
We'll follow a couple paces distance.
Swords out.
Ruby follows with Kess because she's going to be seeking orders of where to take her healing energy.
I'm just ready for a bit schlap if it needs to be.
Yep, Sapphire's the same.
He'll kind of walk up to his mother and kind of kind of like just rest a hand on my shoulder and just be like, Mother, where can I be of aid?
She doesn't turn immediately. And there is it. Give me an insight check.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, hey, that was quite a good roll for
Just
me.
realised I ain't got any dice out.
23, I need some dice.
23.
Yes.
Damn.
I rolled a 17. First and only time.
This is the first time you've probably ever seen your mother's posture drop. And then it straightens again. Like she's realised and straightened as she turns to face you. Her hands in front of her. Being the very, very stereotypical noble lady that you've always known her to be. Aristotle, you will be of use. And before she's even finished that sentence, your father, covered in absolute every form of claret ever invented, dives on you in a massive hug, pulls you so tight you're close to making death saving throws. There is a lot of nostalgia of a hug like this, one you've not received for a very long time, as your father is just he starts brushing your hair aside, like he's basically putting blood all over you, but checking you for wounds like quite fast, like he's like almost in denial that you are not wounded. Like he's frantically looking, and he's not really said anything. He's kind of flustered, and he's just checking. He's lifting your arms up and stuff, as your mum just stands there.
Father, I'm fine.
You sure? You sure? And he sort of turns you around, and he's like checking. He's lifting your shirt up and like trying to pull your arm aside where there's cuts in your armour, and he's in shock almost. That you can tell on your insight check as like when he grabbed you. He's kind of in a bit of a strange place right now that you're in front of him, not cut to ribbons. You now look like you're cut to ribbons with the amount of blood on you, but. And he steps back, taking a deep breath. Son. And then he sees Ruby. Oh, can you help? Do you still have your magics? So I'm sorry, I forget your name from before, but you were triaging in the street when we came and we held the lane. My apologies.
Ruby, no apology needed. I have a little magic and plenty of herb. By which I mean I can roll medicine checks.
Aristan looks at you. So can I.
No, if you want that kind of herb, you're gonna have to pry it out of Sandria's cold dead hands. Because if Ruby had any, Sandria's found it right now.
Oh god, yeah.
For someone so
Lives in my
young,
pipe.
for somebody so young, you have a talent for healing. If you would aid us, we would be grateful.
Which way?
And he looks to Ari's mother, who nods. This way. And he just steps back 10 feet to where there's quite a hefty pile of folk that are in need of medicine checks.
Ruby starts rolling up her sleeves.
He literally just
wait.
She's
up, waiting.
She's with us, and you see a few of the soldiers / civilians just like they start passing you towels and stuff, and you kind of just. This is the less exciting one. The other nearly finished project has flying penises on it. I shouldn't read chat. Matt. So you're
Harry kind of looks towards his father and is like, I've learnt a few tricks and also uses his 2 level 1 spells to cure wounds on people.
Wow.
I mean, we're deep in the roleplay tonight, kids. Deep in the roleplay. Father, I'm a level 8 rogue, level 1
Listen.
bard.
You started it. You started the distraction, okay? It's your fault.
Somebody put penis in my chat, right? I had to check out what we're going on. So, as you cure wounds on some of the injured, there is a musical edge to the spell. Nothing familiar. It just has a bit of a musical edge to it. And you hear a very, very gentle... And the magic lands. No one else hears it, just Harry. Your father kind of invisibly watches the magic land and sees the wounds mend on these two soldiers that you've healed. And there's just a beaming smile across his face as he steps forward, just puts one hand on your shoulder and squeezes gently. We will talk more soon, sir. But I need to help your friend. I thought she'd be helping me, but she's very skilled.
He is very skilled.
And not as native to her as I would have expected. A bit taller. There's a little bit of a smirk on his face.
Ruby hears that and just throws back. Yes, I was adopted. No, I couldn't fit at the kitchen table.
Father just looks at you, Harry, and goes back
All I
to
can
working
see
Ruby.
is like the scene from Elf.
yeah. Ruby is elf, that's
Which
brilliant.
is why I'm really, really hoping we all go to Toa, because if Ruby had to sit on the floor to reach the kitchen table and she's like 5'4",
Sapphire's
the rest of
got
you are
no.
gonna be
Sapphire's
like-
gonna have to lay down. So,
just like commando crawling into the kitchen.
when you turn away from your father as he goes back to with Ruby, you notice your mother is now involved with others, giving them direction. Give me a perception check, all of you.
Oh no, perception's a good one.
Ooh! We're starting
I-
strong today.
I'm seeing everything. That was a nat 20. plus
That was
Oh.
a nat 20. I can see
Oh.
through walls
Oi.
right now.
I rolled a 4.
I got a dirty.
There's
I mean,
the
it's a
balance.
9 overall, but it was still just a 4.
There's the balance.
I got a dirty 20, but still, I'm like, nat 20s all around apparently.
Yeah, Ruby's back in the zone. Ruby has found her center and is away from the violence, and
So as you look around the room and kind of take it in, despite being distracted by what's going on, Ruby, you are aware of things going on around you. You see a dwarf. Those of you that got above a 14, so yeah, you see a dwarf in the corner of the lounge area, not far from where there's quite a large hearth, fireplace. It's quite a large fireplace.
Both work.
And this dwarf is similarly dressed to Captain Boulderback's crew. They have very natural attire on them. There is some elements of seaweed kind of stuck under the shoulder piece and stuff. They have the weathered face. Their beard is thick but messy and tangly and knotted. They have no helm or anything. You see their hair hanging down at the side of their face. Very, very dark. Not quite black, but the brown is so dark that in certain lights you'd swear it probably is black. There is a thick staff next to them, and it is a staff. Like, you've looked at compared to Ruby's crook or the bow staff that Sapphire wields, you can tell that this thing has been made to be sturdy and maybe wielded. It is thick, knotted, and there is a small, like open hand-shaped crystal at the top of the staff, with a small orange light just emanating Emanate. No, glowing. It's glowing. So what? Bex, move this dictionary, love. Right, it's putting me off my game. Just resting on the wall, and this dwarf is kind of rubbing their hands together, and there is a reds and yellows of chalk just like falling from their hand as if they've got large chunks of it and are just crushing it in their hands. You stare for maybe 10 seconds. This chalk still keeps coming, as if there's non-stop chalk as they're just rubbing their hands. This yellow and red chalk's just falling from their hand. Over to you guys.
Kind of
Ruby
seeing.
recognise that as some vaguely magic because, well, yeah, it does. What would that be?
So what did
Arcana?
you two got natural 20s, yeah?
Yeah.
So just as the people are moving, you see at the feet of the dwarf a wooden bowl, and like wedged into the little nooks and crannies and knots of this wooden bowl that appears to be one piece, you see gems, rubies, well, they're reds and blues and greens. You can assume they're emeralds and diamonds and such. Looks quite expensive and natural. Give me an Arcana check, Ruby. So you won't know this, Cass.
It's not as good. That's a 7. It's a flat 7 as well because that's an intelligence check.
You
You've got
don't.
a dice if
You
wanna
don't.
re-roll it.
Nah, it's
You don't recognise anything they're doing, other than the assumptions you can make, but nothing is clear.
for now. Ruby decides against interrupting, as there are more immediate tasks to tend to. But she will sort of like keep a vague half eye in his direction.
Okay.
Seeing that everyone's kind of being deployed, so to speak, Kess will probably gesture Sapphire over and head towards Ari's mother to see what they can help. Probably lifting at this point, because while they could probably do a little bit of triage, I think it's probably most obvious what they will be set to.
Humping and
But
jumping.
yeah, Sapphire will happily follow.
Logistics team. Moving,
So-
shifting, and lifting.
So Sapphire,
Where would we be without log ups?
Sapphire and Kess, you're the ones that go over here. As soon as she notices you two kind of approaching, she'll turn as she looks at you both up and down. Follow me, and she just starts walking out the lounge. Do you follow? Do you follow
okay.
as well, Sapphire? Sapphire's like, see you later. Assassinate. She pulls the wig off. It's Gabriel. Let's go. Roll initiative. You going out into the dining.
Hey, Ari, did you know your mum's been Gabriel?
No!
And I got away with it too if it were for those pesky kids. You both follow Ari's mother out of the lounge area into the dining hall and towards the kitchens. Into the kitchens, it's quite a substantial kitchen, one that is made for cooking for a lot of people, not a family. The stonework, again, you've kind of had that feeling throughout this entire place, because the city is built within the wall itself and kind of just made to fit. Like the elevations, every now and then it's like walking on a bad Tetris game as you like step into the kitchen, and then down you see the large stone cast stoves, and she takes you through into what might be the pantry area, and it is a large, if you were in a tavern out in a normal city, probably the cellar, but this is adjacent to everything else. She starts looking around the place, and there's some large barrels, heavy sacks, there's shelves of bottles and jars and small crates. Right, so I need all that. And she points like over to the right, and there's like several barrels, and I mean Sapphire putting his arm round them barrels. They need moving over there. Because if we have to leave, that's the way out. You can't see anything at this point. Could I leave that with you two?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Good, good. And she leaves. What do you do?
Judging by the size of them, is there like where she was kind of gesturing to? Is there like an obvious space where there is enough room there to put the shit
This is
that
a
she
very
wants?
it's a very large. It's almost a as close to a natural made cave that they've then turned into a cellar / pantry area. There is plenty of space to shift stuff about.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure, like,
Yeah,
we
it's
weren't
not-
gonna
it's
start
not-
trying
it's
to
not
move stuff over
claustrophobic.
there,
No,
and
there
then
is
it was
plenty
gonna,
of space.
then block the exit. I didn't want us to spend
So,
all
Cass,
ages
you've-
like rolling these massive things up, and then nobody could get through.
That'd be brilliant. Just you two escape.
Start a new party.
Ruby can fly now.
Well, all right, we'll get to that. So, what are you doing, Sapphire? Guess we on.
So yeah, if there's like an obvious like spot to move shit to without like literally blocking the fire escapes, as the case is, then Kess will probably try and get Sapphire over so the two of them can start trying to negotiate these
Are you lifting together or individually?
together.
Cool. So,
Sapphire will lift with guest.
so one of you give me a strength check at advantage.
Okay, that is strength check is 19.
Cool. So going over and giving the old, manual handling training, you give the barrel a little bit of a nudge, and it's got a bit of weight behind it, don't really move. You start basically doing the same checks on the 2 or 3 barrels that are there in the boxes and crates. Every one of these probably going to be a 2-person lift. You and Sapphire take position, and you start humping and dumping this stuff over to the far opposite side of these pantry, cellar area, storage area. As you
How
are,
difficult would it be to figure out what exactly it all is?
well, the obvious ones are crates of dried meats, foods, fruits, flour, stuff like this. One of the barrels sloshes as you move it. The other 2 barrels are filled with a dense material, like sand. But without looking, you wouldn't know. But that sort of feeling
Lead.
that there's, yeah.
This is our
There is
lead
definitely
store.
the other 2 have a bit of a dead weight about them.
Makes sense. No, that's fair. So if most of it seems on the up and up, Sapphire won't even bother investigating anything else. Then yeah, just lifting, carrying. That's fine.
Cool. As you start moving it, it quickly comes apparent that you are clearing the fire escape, and you takes you about half an hour to shift everything that's in the way. There is a large set of double doors under a crappy bit of material that you just fling out the way, and these 2 double doors. Do you open them?
Yeah, why not?
Cool. Can you give me a dexterity saving throw, Sapphire?
Remember your thing.
Oh yeah.
What
that would
thing?
help.
What thing? What's this thing?
Evasion, because I keep forgetting that I have it.
I wrote it next to my dex saving throw.
12 plus 7. I rolled a 19, so hopefully I'll be okay. Anyway.
Cool. The small crossbow bolt that propels up the stairway as you open the double doors, you just head to the left and it shoots over your shoulder. Cass, you just see it ting ting hit the
No,
stone
it
behind
doesn't.
you.
I will catch it.
You will catch it.
Yeah.
Monk.
So how do you catch stuff? I know you
So,
can deflect them, but how do you catch?
So basically, at the level I am now, if I manage to deflect it, instead of deflecting, you just catch it.
Oh, okay.
So basically, any damage that I would have taken from a hit from it is reduced by 1d10 plus, which
Yum.
was a 10, plus 4, so that's 14, plus my monk level, which is 7. So yeah, 21. So he'd
Jesus.
like to catch it. This is just Sapphire being Sapphire.
Cool.
And me being
You
extra.
let go of one of the doors and just catch the crossbow bolt.
Maybe we didn't open the door.
Was curious, but okay. Yep. Closes the door. Was it a trap, or was there literally someone firing?
It was a trap.
Figured. Okay, yeah, I'll just close it back up and go. Yep, my bad. And I will pocket the crossbow bolt.
So that would taken you about half an hour. During that half an hour, Ari, Ruby, Xandria, do you wish to have done anything?
I mean, Xandria is just stood
In the middle of the...
in the middle of the hallway, just like looking around like, well, I ain't gonna triage because
I'm Xandria.
Stay out of Ruby's eye line, because she will drag you in.
Everywhere you've travelled so far, Xandria, people have noticed you, watched you, kept an eye on you. You walk in a room confidently, you emanate... I need to get that word right. You have a fair beauty about you. You own the room. You know, they know you're there. Here, no one's batting an eyelid.
oh good.
So are you doing anything, Xandria, other than standing there?
Literally just that. At this point, she's more just keeping an eye to see if anything like tries to force its way in, or if there's any sort of scuffle. Almost like having PTSD and just constantly being ready.
Just like, goddamn sound scratches on the window. Ruby and Ari, what are you doing?
It'll work.
Ari will kind of like try and help as much as he can, but he's kind of he got a little bit of spells. He'll kind of like he'll help a bit, and then obviously when his like mother's kind of gone anyway, with Ruby and Sapphire, he'll kind of help as much as he can, and probably notice that Xandria's kind of just stood there. I don't see why I wouldn't notice that. And kind of go up to her and just be like, "Are you okay?"
Sorry, was that to me?
Yeah.
For a moment, literally, that is the reaction. Just. Yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah. He'll kind of smile, like probably the widest she's ever seen him smile.
Oh, don't do that.
That caught me off guard. Oh, Xandria.
Keep your smile a bit.
Just laugh at her.
You happy? And then she gestures to the direction his father went.
Like, the situation's crazy, but yeah.
I mean, I was fully prepared to slap somebody, you know, if they. But I don't need to do that, so.
This goes up to some poor soldier. Shh, not wasting this.
Charged it up.
He'll kind of like he'll also kind of feel awkward obviously once he's kind of helped who he can help, because again he's not got a huge amount. I mean, he'll try and do his triage as best he can, but it's basic first aid after that. So what he'll probably do is wait until his mother's come back and then probably approach her again.
So you see your mother walk away with Sapphire and Kess through the dining area into the kitchens. She's returned and she's currently crossing the dining area. Do you go over to her, or do you wait for her to come back into the lounge?
No, go over to her.
She stops and lets you approach.
I'll just be kind of, Mother, do you mind if I go up to Grandfather's study? He had some research on demons that I think we could take to more learned people and see if we can try and get some answers as to why this is all happening.
There is a horrendous amount of restraint going on in your mother right now as you speak of your grandfather's study, of the demons and why, and she's sort of gritting her teeth, she doesn't want to speak just yet. And as she takes a breath, she sort of straightens herself. Your grandfather, there is no reason I can think of why you shouldn't. There are people using the rooms upstairs, some of them more wounded than those down here, and I did not want those down here to see such wounds and be demoralized. Steel yourself, Aristotle.
I shall. I'll kind of just give her a hug.
It's not immediately returned. And then she sort of pats you on the back and then the back of the head. Any other requests?
Stay safe.
I always do. And she sort of nods and walks back towards the lounge area.
He'll go back over to Zandria first.
Okay.
And he'll kind of take a hand and just be like, do you mind coming with me upstairs? Not in that goddamn way.
Middle
That's how Zandria
of a
interprets
demonic
that,
siege.
Just
Oh, so he will also then realise what he's just said.
He's either super smooth or completely awkward, and there's just no in between.
Yep.
Call him
He'll
in.
kind of just be like, no, sorry. I need to go and try and retrieve that paperwork that my grandfather had. And
that makes more sense. You're normally quite articulate in how you talk, Ari, but that was a poor choice of words.
it was.
Besides, you only kissed me about, what, 10, 12 hours ago at this point? It's a bit too fast, even for me.
No, I'm not there. Don't worry.
Pretty slow for that.
Good marathon for Harry.
He'll kind of take her out to like the dining area, i.e. out of earshot of everybody in the lounge area. And just kind of before he goes upstairs, he'll kind of turn to her and be like, my mother advises some heavily wounded upstairs, and I
It's gravy
don't
time.
want to see anyone that I know.
I understand.
And he'll head up to his grandfather's room, study, whatever we called it last time.
Are you going?
I totally remember.
You going with Harry,
Accommodations.
Sandria?
Mm-hmm.
Do you go with him?
Yeah.
As you both make your way up the stairs, that familiar corridor of your parents' room, Stefan's room, your room, and your grandfather's at the far side. Immediately in the corridor, you're almost hit with a smell of something you've come accustomed to more recently in your lives. Wounds, bloody smells in the air, like that copper taste in the air. Your mother wasn't wrong when she said the more heavily wounded had been brought up here. The corridor itself is slick with blood. There are towels and blankets and such that have been put around the place to try and soak much of it up. It's not quite rose petals, I mean, it's just a bloody smear across the floor. There are screams of agony coming from your parents' room and your brother's room. You can make the assumption that there are operations going on. These are very obviously screams of pain. Going past your room, Harry, there is no sound whatsoever. The door seems to be, well, it's closed. Whether it's locked or not, you do not know, but there is no noise coming from your bedroom. Your father's room, however, you can, your grandfather's room, however, you can hear people moving around inside, but there doesn't seem to be any shouts or anything of pain. You're just going straight for beeline for grandfather's room, or do you wish to poke your head in the other rooms?
No, he's gonna go for his grandfather's room. He's gonna kind of knock at the door a little bit, kind of just tap at the door.
Okay.
But if he doesn't get any response, he'll just kind of go in. But he wants to try and be somewhat polite.
As your first tap hits, the door opens immediately. Stood there, about 5.5 feet, with a very ugly scar across their face from forehead to jawline. They're blind in their left eye due to this scar. Half his head is bald, with a long black ponytail down the other side that just sort of hangs behind his ears and down in front of his shoulder. There is a very proud and clean, it looks, coat of arms on his upper left chest area, and it is an eagle carrying a scroll case over a scene of mountains. The clothing he is wearing is of dark blues with silver trims and such. You recognise this to be one of the House of the Povest, in particular the head of the house and the head lawmaster of the wall. This is Petra Negrescu. He's also an incredible singer and is the voice of the wall. There are times when the demons have attacked that his voice is carried over the clash of steel and cries of hellfire themselves. If you are lucky enough, anyone on the wall would give their right arm just to be in the presence of one of his songs. He seems to be quite clean. There doesn't seem to be a lot of scenes of battle on him. But he opens the door, staring at you with his good eye. Left eye.
AI.
Harry will kind of nod respectfully, because again, hierarchy, and just be kind of like,
Give me a perception check. And then say what you were going to say.
ooh, that's a nat 19. That is a 25 on perception.
25?
Mm-hmm.
As the door is opened and Petra is staring at you, you sort of say what you were going to say?
He'll kind of nod and just be like, good evening. He'll kind of be like stumbling over his words because he wasn't expecting to see somebody of such kind of high caliber up here, I guess.
Good
he'll
evening,
kind of-
Aristotle. How are we?
I'm okay.
Before you enter, I have some information for you. And before he can get past that, you notice with your perception check 2 people on the large bed that is your grandfather's, both laid there side by side on top of the covers. There is one of them is, I say, short. They have the oiled hair with flashes of grey through it, a darker skin tone from the time they spent in the warmer climates of the north of Ravenholm. Aging, the other side of middle-aged, and you recognise them as Necroli. Laid next to them, they are still. His hand is holding the hand of the other. Laid on the bed next to him. And this is the strange. You can't quite focus. It's as if they are there and not there, all in the same, look. You see Nikolai Dalka, your fencing tutor, and once Flynn, laid still, holding the hand of... Where the fuck is it? 2 seconds. Ah! Oh, I've lost it. No, I found it. Laid next to them, holding the hand of Nikolai, is someone pushing close to 6 feet. They have short, dark hair. Their eyes are wide, curiously dark, and the spitting image of Stefan Arnulf Rycroft. But the thing about Stefan is, when you look to Nikolai, you swear Stefan's kind of gone, but you look back immediately, Stefan's there. It's very strange. You'd have to be closer to get a better inspection. And you see Petra notice that you've noticed and immediately step aside.
You'll rush straight past.
You rush to the bedside. In here are a couple of other people. They are carrying some of them bear the eagle carrying the scroll over the mountains with their dark blues and silvers. And there are a few of them that are of the house of your brother, the house of the Rajrator, carrying the eagle flying engulfed in flame with their burnt oranges and golds across their robes. You don't necessarily recognise them, but they are definitely of the Lawmaster houses and the wizarding house of the Ivory Wall. Now you are at the bedside. It is almost as if Stefan is flickering in and out of existence. And Nikolai is, you can see, breathing. So you can assume they're not dead. Or really determined.
You kind of turn back to Petra and just be like, what's going on?
Yes, so the information I was going to give you. How are you... Sit, Ari. Or may I call you Ari?
Yeah, it's kind of... He just kind of sit, but then sees is Andrea still outside?
Zandria is still outside.
Well, yeah, so when Ari ran into the bedside, Zandria walked into the room, but it's not beside Ari.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, he'll probably come back and sit kind of next to Zandria.
Okay. Petra kind of scratches the scar on his face. It would seem the same magics that were used on your brother a time ago and broke his presence here. What do you know of echoes?
He'll kind of furrow his brow and just be like, I know some of my companions have spoken of it, and that they're looking for echoes, and I don't really know a lot.
We did actually know somebody who was dealing with their own echoes some time ago, before they too vanished.
It would have been most useful right now. And he sort of he turns and paces backwards and forwards deep in thought.
We do have somebody with us that knows more about it, though.
You do?
And Sapphire's downstairs. He knows a lot more about this than any of us.
Well, it was more the case of he was trying to research them a bit more. He was asked to by his master, I believe.
It would be beneficial, I believe, for Sapphire. And kind of looks at you for confirmation that they are called Sapphire. Was present for such conversations.
Kind of nod and just be like, in fact,
Message.
well, he'll do his little message. I was like looking at the range, going 120 feet.
Oh.
Probably alright for residents, I reckon. Yeah, he'll message Sapphire.
What do you say?
And just be kind of like, Sapphire, I'm upstairs in the end room. Like, I'll describe where it is.
Yep.
In the corridor. I'm upstairs in the end room. We've got something to do with echoes. Please, can you help? You're muted, Sean.
You're muted.
But it looked great doing your Charlie Chaplin impression.
As they're carrying things, Sapphire goes, no, I will never get used to that.
Used to what?
Ari's just sent me a message. There's something going on with echoes upstairs.
Just as you open
Do
the
you wanna
door
come?
and catch the arrow.
Oh, that was really uncomfortable. I mean, like, so I'm gonna go upstairs. Do you want to come? Are you coming with? Do you want to keep scaring away stuff? I imagine that would be more interesting.
Tidying up?
I mean, any of this stuff that's still got to go away.
I think I'll head back up and see if there's anything else that they need help with. Let them know it's been cleared.
So,
Okay.
Sapphire, you're going upstairs?
Oh yeah.
Caspian, what are you doing?
I'll probably report back in to Harry's mother that they've completed their task, and is there anything else that he can do to be of assistance?
Cool. Sapphire, you start heading upstairs. Caspian, as you go back in, Harry's mother turns to you. There is as if she's about to say something, she pauses and kind of stares off over your shoulder. She nods a couple of times. She brings her hand to her mouth and nods a few more times. She looks at you. We must prepare. And then that's all she says to you, and turns and goes over to Harry's father immediately. And she's now talking to him quite, not frantically, but she's excitable. Give me a perception check.
He will kind of we must prepare. Good. Like one hand will go to sort of the hilt of his scimitar, but he will follow after her because that was not a clear instruction, lady, who's supposedly very skilled in giving instructions. So on perception, though, that is 23. So maybe Kess can glean
She
something
is
from
talking
that
to.
Luke can't.
She's talking to Harry's father in Ravenholm, in their local language, but every now and then slips into common, and you hear the word evacuate in a multitude of passing of sentences that some might call a conversation. The people around them start reacting as they are completely aware of what they are saying. but that's where you're at the minute. Sapphire, go on.
No, I was just gonna say we'd go and ask her if there was anyone that they would need help evacuating, so that basically we're dispatching people the best.
Everybody,
way.
dear.
I'll go where I'm pointed, and he will do that.
You immediately see those that are able are starting to help those that are less able to their feet and kind of prop them to get ready. Stretchers are being made or being brought out and stuff. There is a runner sent out as you just hear the name Gothard mentioned in a passing from Harry's mother to one of the soldiers. It's likely they're off to get Gothard. And this is happening. Sapphire, you go upstairs, you see the same red smears and horrendous corridor of death, and you hear the moments of people in quite a lot of pain on either side. There is a doorway further up on your right that is closed and no noise is coming from at all, and straight in front of you the door's open. You see the 5.5 foot bald-headed, scarred, ponytailed gentleman kind of pacing backwards and forwards, and you see Ari and Zandria in there. You can see other people, again, the description of some of them are in dark blue and silver, others like a burnt orange and such. You recognise the burnt orange robe colorations of those from when you were in Torberg and the wizards were sat in the corner. And you're just outside the room. You see Ari and Zandria in there.
Sapphire kind of nervously knocks on the door. Hey?
Are you the one they call Sapphire?
Yes, I am.
You are knowledgeable
Lord
in
Aristotle
echoes.
Yes. Well, I'm trying to learn more about them. I'm learning as I go.
How are you on travelling to the realm of echoes? Specifically, returning back. Which I suppose the returning is the same as coming back. But you understand by me.
So, I did not know there was a realm of echoes till this exact moment. So,
from what we have understood, please sit. It is
he takes
more
a seat and pulls out his notebook.
of a way station than a realm. The echoes are, from what we know so far, they are eternal and echoes of ourselves. If you are dark and moody here, you are less so elsewhere. Young Stefan, and he gestures to the bed, and you now see the shorter fencing tutor that you saw before, being a bit Fantonio, and you see Stefan doing to you a perfect demonstration of echoing in and out.
Okay.
Now this way station we have no information about. I don't know how much you know of Stefan's condition, but he was hit with magics that, like a mirror, shattered. And the echoes of Stefan are uncontained and wild. It is a new school of arcane knowledge that we are only recently delving into.
He's gonna, as he's listening, he's just gonna kind of haphazardly touch against the amulet.
Do you activate the amulet or just touch it?
Yeah, I think he probably would. He'll listen. He'll wait until he's done. He'll hold it to see if it's doing anything, and then when the guy pauses, he'll activate it. See if
it's
even tries.
very warm and vibrating so fast. It's almost like it's not moving, but like you can feel it feels rough because it's moving so fast, but still. He finishes talking. Do you activate it?
Yeah.
Cool. As you do so, can Aristotle, Zandria, Sapphire, the NPCs in the room, Can you all give me a charisma saving throw, please?
Oh, holy shit.
Oh boy.
It'll be
Oh
fine.
boy.
This'll be fine. 24.
My tower.
24.
3 minus 1 is 2.
Oh dear.
15. Please use the reroll.
Have a reroll.
Okay, alright, I'll use the reroll. If you want me to use the reroll, I'll use the reroll.
Before you do, let me tell you.
Okay. Alright.
Sandra, yours were 24.
24.
Currently 15 and what, Sapphire? Currently right now, what was it, 4?
2.
2? Right.
Yeah.
Let me just do the others. Stefan. Shit. Oh, fuck. I do
You
not have a
kill that
poker face.
NPC.
Right, if we see Luke leave shot, it's because he's getting on the train to go and kick Amy's head in for endangering Stefan.
Danger Stefan.
Never better. So, as you activate the Echo Amulet, you hear the shattering of an uncountable amount of glass, whether it be mirror or drinking vessel, plate, window, figurine. You just hear the shattering of glass all around you, and a low, like, and you see certain loose materials flap and move as if of wind has come out from you, Sapphire. Xandria, that shattering of glass, you immediately reach to your face as if your face itself has been hit by glass. You feel nothing. You look up and around you, and you see, quick count, a dozen sapphires in the room, and around the same number of Aries. And they sort of, only one of them is clear, and the others are that anime sort of speed run where you get them behind you and it's
Yeah.
a breath passes and they all come back, and you just see the one sapphire and the one Ari. You don't see any other flavours from the others in the room, Petrie or the 4 people helping. From Nikolai, you do not see another. Stefan disappears. There's no sign of Stefan on that bed. And Sapphire, you look down into your hand after taking 1 point of damage as the Echo Shard is no more. And you just drop dust to the floor. There's a small trickle of blood, speckles of blood on your hand. And we're going to call it there for our break. So, time for a break, kids.
Break.
Yeah, we were all having a talky session. Right, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back in about 10-15 minutes after a drink and a bio break. And then we'll carry on and see what these lot do. Break time, where is it? Hello, Geeky and Knights. Thank you for the raid. This is the beautiful voice of Heavy you are hearing now. We're currently on a break. We'll be about 2 minutes as we just wait for our last player, and then we'll be back with it. So stick around, guys, please, and see what we're getting up to. Thank you very much for the raid. It is appreciated. We shall see you very, 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 very soon.
go.
Boom, and we're back. Hello, Geeky Knights. Thank you very much. Hope your lovely raiders enjoying themselves and whatever you've been doing for the last, well, for your stream went really, really, really well. Thank you. Right. So, just before the break, these lot are after a much-earned chill moment, or trying to get one. It's the last couple of hours of the day. If you've seen all the other 8 sessions, you'll know what the day is. You are Sapphire, Ari, and Xandria. Let me put my Syrinscape music on. 2 seconds. Is this playing? There we go. So, what happens is, Sapphire, you're in the room, you detect echoes. The shard that you've been given to allow you to do so disintegrates, causing you a little bit of damage. Xandria resists the shattering of herself, but Ari and Stefan and Sapphire do not. And they feel the shattering of glass all around them. They can hear it, see it, taste it. They are shattering themselves. They have to struggle to focus. For a very brief second, Xandria saw a dozen of each of them. Stefan, the brother of Ari, who was kind of flickering in and out of this particular realm on the bed, has disappeared. Nekulai, who was unconscious and holding the hand of Stefan, is still there. And there was a... You can all hear in the distance the clashing of metal, as if a battle is going on, and you are hearing it from hundreds of miles away. And then some Predator music.
That was creepy.
What do you do?
So after the dozen of Ari and Sapphire go back and everything kind of goes back to normal, Xandria just looks around the room, then lands her eyes on Ari and went, well, I'm glad that went back to normal. I don't think I could deal with another 11 of you and Sapphire. One is bad enough.
Is Ari actually hearing this, or is he
Yep.
still just having...
You're back.
Okay.
You're back in the room, as it were. Give me a perception check.
Right, okay.
Give me a quick perception check.
Oh, now I roll alright.
You're not verbally on game tonight, are you, sir?
I need 2. Now I can roll.
It's quite obvious Stefan's not there anymore. However, Nekulai is still gripping something as if holding a hand.
Sapphire is like, he stares at, I guess, what is now just a chain, and it's like,
This was a gift.
he drops down and starts like trying to get the dust back into his hand.
It is just
Like,
almost like slippery soap. You just can't seem to get any. You just can't seem to grasp it.
can he try and put some in a like empty potion bottle or something that he's got on him?
When you put the potion bottle to the floor and you scoop, it sort of swishes around your hand.
He has a momentary thought of just throwing that potion bottle across the room, but calms himself down, recorks it, and puts it back in his bag. I don't know how much help I'll be, Ari. Like, I thought maybe I could use this to trace him into the other place, and it's how I found Dale. He's walking over, not realizing that Stefan's not visible.
If Ari's noticed that, then he's already over at the bedside, like, kind of like, and he's kind of looking at Petra, just being like, "What's happened? What?"
Petra, with his good
What
eye,
happened?
is staring at the bed, staring back at Sapphire. watches Sapphire intently as you see Sapphire trying to pick up the dust, and every time he tries it sort of swirls around his hand and then settles again. And incredible. And he rushes over to the bedside and he sort of follows, he's checking Nikolai, and he follows his hand down, and you can see him confirming that Nikolai is holding the hand, is still holding hands with an invisible Stefan. But then he touches the bed where Stefan was, and he's touching the covers, and then a second later his hand is propelled as he's touching something solid. Incredible, yes. He's still here, but not. What did you do, Sapphire? What was that? What instrument did you use?
It was an amulet of sorts that my master gave me to help track echoes.
You could track them.
Yeah. It just so happened that the ship I came over on took me to a place where there was real powerful echoes. That's how I found this lot, because like their friend was like suffering with echoes or used echoes. He's like looking at the others like, please answer this for me. I don't know what the hell they was doing.
Petra looks across to one of the Rajator. Please request the presence of Lady Rycroft. If she received the same message I did a moment ago before Sapphire changed the atmosphere here, there is an evacuation about to happen and I need to speak to her immediately. Now go. The Rajator wizard nods and she just quick paces out the room, you assume to go get Mother Dearest. Petri is now like stalking around. This is a terrible situation there, Aristotle. So, I should have said, your old teacher here, or well, he's everybody's old teacher, Nikolai, is currently in the way station of these echoes. I received word from Darius that Stefan had slipped and he couldn't bring him out of it. He was first brought to us when the attack happened and Stefan reacted violently at first, and as you were aware, your brother is quite the prodigy with the arcane arts, and several got injured. However, we were able to keep him calm with soothing voice and songs of quieter times. But Stefan went north with Darius and Anastasia and such, and they were doing their work there. I have kept in touch with Darius to pass on Stefan's conditions and behaviours to the House of the Rajator, but they have been very busy, and he kind of gestures as if to say, with all the demons outside. However, we determined or discovered a way we could, similar to plane shifting, and do you hear that battle? Where is that? And he's sort of looking around. Oh, it is coming through the other side. We managed to send Nikolai to Stefan, beyond this realm and beyond the elemental planes and the planes of demons and angelic planes and all the cosmology we know of Colossus. This way station, this place where we are all one and the same, but the multiples of. Nikolai volunteered himself to escort Stefan back to our realm, to our world, to his time, not another's. It is a first. But Stefan seems to be more there than here at this moment, and he gestures towards the space on the bed. as he's like finishing his
Sapphire
sentence.
looks at
Go on.
Ari. Sapphire looks at Ari. Shit, I think that was my fault. Can
You may speak, but I have words to add to that.
I was just going to ask if you can send me through.
See, this is why I have sent for a nod towards Ari, Lady Rycroft. We're going to be leaving the wall, it seems, and I will be needed. My house will be looking for me. And I mean this in the best possible way, Aristotle, but the entire province is a threat. There are those fools in the north and the west that are civil warring, and he sort of spits the sentence. However, this immediate threat will need my voice. However, maybe we can give you time. Hold that thought, Sapphire, but please, it is not your fault. You may have merely accelerated what was going to happen anyway. Ah, Lady Rycroft. You called for me. She looks at Ari, looks at Petrie. She looks at the bed briefly, and there is a... Like, you three notice it quite obviously, she fails to hide it. There is a shock, and then a re-strengthening of the jaw. You received the evacuation message? I did. Why is there battle sounds? And she's looking around the room. So, what do you wish to do, Lady Rycroft? It is your house and your family. I see. And the fencing tutor? Nikolai is with Stefan, we believe. Thank you, Petrie. Aristotle? I need to evacuate our people. Our responsibilities are to the wall and to the province. All who stand on the wall, all who live within its protection, are loyal to the wall. But I do not wish to see my sons taken from me without a fight. Petrie, can you send either myself or my husband along with these, along with Aristotle, this is just assuming, to wherever you were sent to Nikolai? He just nods. Then one of us will lead the evacuation, and one of us will join our sons.
She just looks absolutely lost. He's just like so confused as to what's going on. And just kind of looks around. Don't have everyone here. And he'll send a message to Cass and then to Ruby and just kind of be like, please come upstairs, the end room, and just sound absolutely lost.
You both go upstairs?
Yep.
As you go up the stairs, you notice Ari's father kind of watching you. And, he keeps going back to what he's doing and then looking over, like you've all left the room now over various periods of time, and the missus. So he's, just kind of like, what the... And he's carrying on doing what he's doing. You go up the stairs. Same scene, bloody corridor. Agony to either side of you. Before you, Grandfather Rycroft's bedroom, study area.
just single-minded. straight
Ruby
through.
can see Ari, but there's also someone in pain. So she hesitates outside the doors.
There is no sound
Ruby.
from the far door on the right. Just the first two.
Just one of the doors is screaming outside. Ruby is like, that is a person that needs help.
Ruby, this is whoever can help them is already with them. Ari needs us just now.
As Kesvion says that, Ruby, the screaming stops slowly. And then there is silence.
With a very guilty look, Ruby follows Cass.
Cool. You're in Sebastian Rycroft's abode. You see Ari, you see Xandria, you see Sapphire, you see Lady Rycroft, you see a scarred individual with one eye, half a bald head, a ponytail, 5'5", Petri, and a couple of others that are in similar robes to what you saw Stefan in, the wizarding robes, and a couple that you've noticed throughout the fighting and such, that tended to be the inspiring ones throughout the fighting on the wall and in the city streets and such. They have a very similar skill set to when Ari lends his voice to battle.
Ari, what do you need?
He'll just kind of like look towards Andrea and towards Sapphire and just be like, my brother is in he's in trouble.
Stefan, was he not with Darius up north? Was that not where they last were?
Don't understand it myself.
Yes. I'm sorry we haven't met. I'm Lord Petri. I have a house, but it's not important right now. Stefan is most likely still north with Darius. However, the wounds to his existence have caused complications. And I do not know if you
The
have...
echoes.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
And the echoes are... Like a ball of wool, Stefan is slowly softening before it begins to unravel. We have managed to send Nikolai to... we don't really have a name for it, but it is a way station, a realm of echoes for now. And is somewhat of a guardian for Stefan in this place. Whilst Darius does his part in the north, we are doing our part here. But Stefan is in a lot of trouble, and we need, or we would very much like, to save him. He is family to Lady Rycroft and Aristotle. My role is to leave here and be with the rest, as is your role, and looks at Ari and Lady Rycroft and the others in there. However, Stefan would be a great loss, and I say this coldly and tactically, would be a great loss to the province that is the Eagles, for his arcane skill is vast. But if his echoes rebel, that arcane power could be turned against us. If Stefan is lost, the wall has lost an asset, a family has lost a brother and son. If you are willing,
What is it you are suggesting?
as Lady Rycroft has suggested, and your friend Sapphire has suggested, we can send you there. I
Fine.
do not know how to get you back.
Figure that out along the way.
How much harder can it be in the realm of souls?
Exactly.
And like, but like that's clearly tried to be like an attempt at levity aimed at Ari.
A
Like
small smile goes across Petri's face. The realm of souls has rules, my dear boy. Rules we are aware of. We know nothing of this other place.
I'm sure we'll learn along the way.
Probably turn out I can just walk back.
well, if Delphin could do it, then how hard can it possibly be?
I don't think Delphin had much of a choice with his.
No, but neither do we.
Are you wanting to travel there?
Ari?
Oh, this has been a long day. Yeah, please.
What's one more thing at this point?
So kind of meet eyes with his mother and just be like, "I will try my best."
You do not need myself there, or your father. You will bring Stefan safely home, as you brought yourself safely home. My stubbornness has been a flaw for many a year. Your grandfather was right. You are the eagle. However, I will do what I can right now. And she gives a scroll to Ruby. And on this scroll, Ruby, there is druidic writings. You don't entirely understand what it's trying to tell you, but you feel if you were to read it, you'd know. Before you read this, know that it will take... That's not what...
I can't read.
That's not what I said.
He said before you read
Yeah,
this,
so
you prove it
she-
to me like that's not
okay.
gonna be a problem.
You will be able to when the time comes. It is not your academic reading that will be used. It is your connection to druidism that will enable you to activate this scroll. It will allow you to travel to a plant or tree or something that you have seen at any distance from this point. I can lock you in here and make it almost impossible for our enemies to get to you, to give you time. But if time is running out, you may need to find your own ways. That scroll will only allow you to travel on the plane you are on. I do not know how it will work in a realm I have never studied.
I need you to say that again.
Yeah, we didn't get any of that.
Yeah, I'm getting internet connection unstable. God damn son of a... You'll have... The scroll only works on the plane you are on. If you use... I do not know how it will work if you use it in this place of echoes. So, Petri, if you would do me the honour of sending my eldest to save his little brother, I will do the rest.
Ari, do you know where those notes were?
They're just on the big desk next to you.
I was gonna say, just gestures to the desk.
The desk has actually been cleared, and all the writings and stuff of your grandfather have been wrapped in a bit of a binder and off to the side, and they've used the desk for You can see there's small maps of certain sections of the city and stuff. Obviously, strategy was done up here. There's a few writings. The word echoes mentioned a few times, and Nikolai's name and Stefan's name. Petri, as he sees you grabbing the notes of your grandfather, he's quickly scooping them up and putting them in his scroll pouches and parchment packs.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it like how big's the binder? Because Kess is just going to pick up and like
A4.
stow the
It's
entire
an
lot,
A4
because we'll
leather
sort through
bound,
that later.
yeah, leather bound binder, and there is a crap load of stuffed parchments, the scrolls and stuff in this binder. More than able to just shove in a backpack.
Cool. We'll add that to my.
Now, I don't have time to explain. And he produces a mirror. Simply stand and hold hands whilst connected to Stefan and break the mirror. If we ever see each other again, and he looks at Sapphire, I will tell you all I have learnt about echoes.
That would be most appreciated, thank you.
Now, as I said, I have responsibilities to the rest of the wall and the people of the province of Eagles. But before I go, and he sort of closes his eyes and he begins to sing. And there is a instant connection to every one of you. The song he is singing is Elven. If you speak Elven, you will understand that the song is simply about a gang of heroes going into the pits of hell to save the ones they love. It's not soft, it's not energetic, it simply is beautiful to behold. And you all have a dice of inspiration that is a D12. And under the normal circumstances, you would have 10 minutes to use it, I think it is. You have 1 hour to use this. And then he...
That is 1 hour of in-game or 1 hour of...
In-game.
Like,
In-game.
playtime?
No, in-game.
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 Okay, yeah.
He does a flourish of a bow and leaves, and the other 4 leave. He gives the mirror to Ari, and he leaves with the others of the couple of houses. Lady Rycroft walks over to Ari and takes your hands in hers and just clasps them and gives you a kiss on each cheek. I trust you will both return to me and your father.
Yeah.
And she just sort of stares at you for a little bit and turns. She gets to the doorway and sort of rolls her sleeves up. I've not done this for a while. I'm now going to close you in. The rest is up to yourselves. I suggest if you do return, you don't stay here on the wall, for I fear it is truly lost. But for whatever reason, it took a lot longer to lose than we first expected when the attack happened. More and more of our people have already made it to safety. There's less of a fighter in them. There's a particularly strange presence of clouds and air and such on the wall. However, are you ready?
Ready. Looks around like the rest of the party.
She begins to meld the stone and earth around this makeshift abode of your grandfather, and she brings it down slowly onto the floor into the middle and starts rising it up, completely sealing you in, and almost cave-like without an entrance, as you just see the last rising of the rock as it molds together, and you just see your mother smile, and then it closes. You are left in the room with Nikolai on the bed and an invisible not there but there Stefan. And a magic mirror where nothing could ever possibly go wrong.
Through the mirror, they said. It'll be fine, they said. He'll kind of try and reach towards the bed where he thinks, like, Stefan's other hand might be.
You feel the presence
Like,
of somebody, and you can quite easily make your way down there. You've done a lot of blindfolded stuff. Quite easily make your way down their arm, and you hold the hand of Stefan. As you hold the hand of Stefan, Stefan's hand grips back, but there's no noise or any other movement.
Kind of just look down at the two of them and just be like, hold on.
Do all hold
And
hands?
turn to the rest of the... Yeah.
Yep.
And wait for Zandria. Do you hold hands? Not touching that. just a finger on the end.
Sandria looks like she's acting like a preteen at a social dance.
No, I'm not. Take that hand. Bloody hell. I was wanting to jump in straight away.
That's true. They're all holding hands.
Yep.
You have the mirror. Smash away.
Yep.
So Ari, you drop the mirror. You take the hands of the... already got the whole hand of your brother. You take the hand of the person immediately to your left. The mirror drops, hits the floor. There is a moment where nothing happens, and you just see the broken mirror on the floor and the shards of it looking up at you, and you look down and you see multiples of yourself in all these different broken shards, and there's a brief second of, well, what was that about? And then you look and you are alone in the room. No Nikolai, no Stefan, none of your friends and future brides. Might be Kess.
They're already married.
We're already married. Don't need to be future.
Cass would make a very fetching bride, though.
Probably more fetching than Zandria, to be honest.
You then see Zandria walk across the room and fade away into the rock. You then see Sapphire
Farewell, love.
placing his bow staff on the strapping on his back and then fade away. You just catch Kesvion as he disappears through the doorway that your mother's just made with the rock, placing the two scimitars in their sheaths. But you don't see Ruby, and you don't see Nikolai, and you don't see Stefan. Can you give me a charisma saving throw, please?
Oh boy.
So where we find out that Ruby was an echo on
That is a dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
The sound of battle fades, and you hear the cawing of crows or ravens or other flight creatures. Dragons. Fucking
Birds.
Jesus.
Flight
Oh.
creature.
Flight creatures. Might be a Boeing 747, you don't know. You look around quickly to see where everyone's gone, and without noticing you are stood on a barren field. There was once trees here, now dead, just blackened, burnt branches and trunks, brittle, charcoaled where they stand. There are several birds of carrion dive bombing this field that spreads out as far as you can see. It is muddy, wet. There's trudging noises all about you. You look to see, you see nobody trudging. It is just a field that by the looks of it once held a battle. A wind starts to blow, and you look to your right and you see Sapphire just climbing over a rock just to get a lay of the land. And he looks back at you and he walks over to you You say anything? You doing out, Harry?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to Sapphire. My brain's like, what? I'll kind of just be like, where is everybody?
As Sapphire approaches, his attire is different. There are more tundra-like furs and clothing that would keep you warm in an Arctic environment. And there are scars across his face. You can see the pink rakes through his fur and the real bright pink scar across his nose. His mane is not as Vidal Sassoon as it once was. There is a mattedness to it, almost sweat knotted. On his back is a brutal looking spear, not as elegant as the Naginata that you normally see him with. There are wraps on his hands, and you can see stained red fingertips where the claws just protrude. And just steps over and just stares at you, says nothing. Staring down at you. About 6 feet from you. Just stares and
Kind
then
of like taking all the extra stuff and kind of be like, what? Are you Sapphire?
woof, give me a dexterity save.
Oh, flip it neck.
Come on, Rogie McRogue face. Do a
Rocky
kickflip.
McRogue face apparently can't roll higher than a 5. That is a whatever. Oh my god, I can't add up. That is a 12. So
Evasion. As you're talking to Sapphire, a raven bursts through Sapphire's chest, and you throw yourself out of the way of it and fall prone. Sapphire, when the mirror broke, you turn to see where everybody was, and you see your sensei walking across the temple floor. And you sort of step forwards, see Sensei Rin, just to say hello, give a wave, or adjust to, and then you look and you notice you are in the temple. And before you wave to Sensei Rin, you see a very tall white lion dressed in the robes and attire of a monk of Vey walk towards Sensei Rin and accept a necklace. And before you react, you sort of blink as you stare across at yourself. And then you are on a barren battlefield, ravens and crows flying all around you. You're looking around, it's thick and muddy. You hear trudging, but see no one trudging. There are several rocks off to your left. You go to get a bit of a better vantage point, and you climb a rock, and there is a raven perched next to you. And just ahead of you, you see a warrior with greenish hair, the colour of shining emerald seaweed. They hold 2 blades at their side, and they have a slight curve to them. And there is blood dripping from them. You see no source of combat. This warrior is stood there, kind of like slightly hunched and crouched, as if poised to strike. You have a quick surveying of the area. You do not see any prey or opponent of this warrior. And you take a rest, and then you notice that the raven sort of just hops closer towards you. You look back at the raven. It's staring out. This warrior starts to dance, performing combat moves that you know a very dexterous warrior would perform. You then hear the cries of people receiving blows from a sharpened blade as this green-haired warrior spins and cuts and slices invisible enemies, but you can hear their cries of pain. There's a very small part of you that wants to rush forward, but the rest of you is telling you to sit. You feel your teachings come to you almost like Sensei Rin is speaking to you. Relax, breathe, assess, and you settle. And the raven fucks off from the rock and flies at the green-haired warrior and bursts through the green-haired warrior's chest. And you see as the green-haired warrior falls, this messy hole in their chest. They hit the floor and the mud and become one with the mud. And as you look at the black feathers that have just been scattered everywhere as this raven made impact, you see a very familiar face, a very roguish face, a small eagle face. You see Aristotle staring at you, stood on the rock, as you stare at them.
Harry?
You now see Sapphire as you remember.
Sapphire?
He slowly reaches his hand up towards the Naginata, just holding it but not drawing it. Are you actually... Tell me something that has happened on the journey we have shared.
When Xandria first met you, she tried to stab you.
Relaxes the grip.
Boom.
Okay. Sorry. I saw what I thought was Caspian, but then a
So
raven
I
kind
thought
of
it was
exploded
you.
him. Oh,
And then a raven. Yeah. That.
where the hell are we? I wasn't expecting this.
Realm of Echoes.
I guess we're seeing other versions of each other.
You looked different.
Different?
You had more stars. They suited you.
Had more scars. Well, yeah. I imagine different versions of me might have done different things, taken different paths.
What does that mean?
As I understand it, there are different realities, and we have taken different choices in our lives. So, whatever choices we've made, there are versions of ourselves in other realities that have taken a different choice. The Kesvion I saw was deep in the middle of battle and was just, cutting people down without remorse, without thought.
Where's Cass and Ruby and where's Andrea?
Ari and Sapphire, can you give me a perception check each, please?
That's a bit better. Oh, 14.
17.
Cool. A couple of things you both notice. There are both sun and moon in every direction you look. So you look to the sky, you see a sun and moon. You kind of look what you assume is the opposite direction. You see the sun and moon. Doesn't matter which way you look. You don't ever see them doubled up. So like 2 or 3 suns next to each other or 2 or 3 moons next to each other. You just always see a sun and a moon not far apart. Whichever way you look in the sky. What you also notice in the far distance of this trudged, muddy old battlefield and the hundreds of crows and ravens and whatever birds are up there dive bombing this battlefield, you see colourful green trees in the distance, so far, that you are surprised you can make them out. The trunks of these trees have a strange stacked layering effect, and their leaves are large and flat and spread, and you do not see many branches from these trees. Can Ari, you haven't seen these trees before. Sapphire, give me a history check.
Oh no. Yeah. +0. That's an 8.
8. Don't
Yep.
recognise this species of tree.
Okay.
Kesvion. The mirror shatters. You take a breath, steadying yourself for whatever appears on the other side. This is kind of your thing. You're there to kill anything that threatens your group. When you look to see where everybody is, get those familiar spicy smells of, the camp cooking and just being in camp when you've returned from a patrol or just woken up, and got a strong spicy, just flavour in the air. But you can hear an abundance of ravens and crows. You look around, there's sand everywhere, rolling dunes, palm trees. You are not designed to use academics to fight your battles, but you are not daft enough that you are home but shouldn't be. You look around, and as you now start to take in the scene, you look down in the oasis that is before you, and you see a beautiful young fae with long conker brown hair and small green markings on their face, their long ears, and they are splashing in the water. Then they step back and they dive into the deep waters of this oasis, and they are going for it, swimming out into the deeper parts. And despite the oasis at first glance just looking no larger than a hefty pond, they don't seem to stop swimming. And every time you glance around to take in the sand dunes and the trees again, you look back and they're still swimming. Easily, no struggles, and you see before you a very young Xandria. Just paddling away and then sprinting in swim across the oasis waters. She then gets out, and a young fiery skinned salamander on 2 feet starts pottering towards them. She gets out of the water and they start just sort of nudging each other, and you hear a beautiful laughter echo out from Xandria, or at least this young Xandria, and a croaky chuckle from your friend Rek, as they are clearly sharing a moment that was funny to them both. You look around. You do anything?
How much younger do we seem?
Not childlike, but young. Not quite ready to be sent on patrols themselves, but not far off.
You'll sort of start wandering towards the oasis.
As you head down there, Xandria and Rek react. They see you, and they go rushing towards you. Big beaming smiles on their face. And pointy teeth. On Rek, not Xandria. As they come towards you, you sort of stumble in the sand a little bit, clumsily. Which is not a trait of your dexterous self. Xandri and Rhett run up to you, and there is a silence as they sort of stand before you, and they look at you confused with smiles, as if they've just found you dressed up in your parents' clothes, sort of confused but funny. And Rhett, what are you wearing?
Clothes from a different time, I guess.
And what are you doing with them? You're going to hurt somebody. And sort of like nods towards your swords. You know you're not allowed weapons. Xandria sort of nudges Rek. Leave him alone.
So,
Man of Jade's voices.
why am I not allowed the weapons again?
You know how clumsy you are, Kesfion. We've told you, weapons are not for you.
Yeah. You're right. He's going to kind of have a sort of glance around, because he's kind of remembering what Dalton said, that like echoes are kind of like different possibilities, and just kind of trying to see if there's anything else that's like jumping out as like obviously different.
Give me a perception check, and then carry on speaking.
That is perception plus 5. That is 23 in total. Did you see anyone else come through here? A big white lion, or a girl with long blonde hair, or anyone?
They look at each other and laugh loudly. Xandria keeps laughing and laughing to the point of where you can't breathe, sort of laughing. And there's a moment where you sort of steady yourself. You can't help it. It doesn't matter what realm or world you're in. That instinct kicks in that she might need you to just step in, and she laughs and laughs. And there is no issue, no coughing, no gasping for air. Just a beautiful, musical laughter. There are no white lions in the desert, Kesfion. We'll be lucky if we've seen a tiger walk past here. Come, join us in the water. You sense no threat. And she doesn't wait for you to answer. She just goes, not that bit. She doesn't say not that bit to you.
Yeah. That would be a really weird.
Not that bit.
He'll follow them down to the water then.
Now this is confusing. When you get down to the water, this scene is out of time. It doesn't sync to your memories. You get down to the waters, and Xandria and Rhett go down to the waters. They're just ahead of you. And in the shrubbery around the water, Xandria's seen something, and she's over there. She's sort of pulling it away with, say excitement, but like curiosity. And she pulls from the reeds and from the water itself a very small, almost baby-like sized humanoid with seaweed green hair that is kind of over their face. And she's just sort of holding it. She's like, just staring and staring, beaming smile across her face. That doesn't match your memory. You are aware of the true memory. Rek walks up beside you. They're never going to let her keep it. And you hear hoofs behind you. And as you turn, you are stood on a trudged battlefield. Ravens and crows. You look around. The oasis is gone. The sand dunes have gone. The trees. Zandria, Wreck, the little green-haired baby, all gone, and you are on the trudged battlefield. You follow the hoofs, see where they're coming from. You see nothing, but as you turn, you see in the distance 2 humanoid shapes, quite far. One of them sticks out more than the other because they're clearly large and white. They have a very obvious white, as in Snow White, about them.
He'll start making his way towards them, but still making sure to keep like hands on scimitars in case stuff gets more peculiar, I guess, or at least violently peculiar, which is the least favorite type of peculiar.
There's the sound of a horse galloping in front of you, or at least something akin to a horse galloping. Again, you see nothing, but the sound is going towards what you can now see is Aristotle and Sapphire. And all around you, miles and miles of this barren battlefield. Ari and Sapphire. You see Kesvion approaching. Sapphire, you see the Kesvion you remember from the room. Ari, Kesvion looks as he always has.
Oh, good. Okay. It's the real one, I think.
Is it though? It looks the same.
You've known him longer than I have. Feel free to test him.
He'll kind of look at the.
Kess is looking between the two of you like, I am here. I'm presuming you guys saw stuff that was weird.
Yeah, he'll kind of glance towards his arm and see the same arm and go, yeah, this is fine. Can't replicate that. And kind of just look at him, just be like, yeah, very weird.
You know why we're here? Yeah.
Yes. I'm struggling with this whole concept, but
Ari, why are we here?
to rescue my brother.
Have you seen the others yet?
No.
Well, it's the second one of you I've seen.
I saw Drea, but not our Drea. Drea for another time.
It gets very cold, as in Arctic cold here on this battlefield. Before, you never even noticed any temperature changes, hot, warm, cold, freezing, anything like that. But you feel it become very, very, very wintry cold. And as you sort of tighten your clothes around you, your armour, your furs, your cloaks, whatever it is you have to keep you warm, you get really warm. Like midsummer warm. And then there is a almost switched on spring shower just falls down upon you all. And then goes. And you look, the trudge, the wet mud beneath your feet. And as you all look at your feet to notice that it's even wetter, and your eyes come back up to look around, you see reds and brown autumn leaves just swirling about in the distance, going away from you. You follow their look, and there is a tree that all three of you swear on anything that you would be willing to swear on was not there. There is a huge tree, a massive oak of a size you couldn't even describe to someone if they asked. Zandria, Mirror shatters, just like the rest. Do a quick scan, see where everyone is. You're still in the room, in the wall. You look about. In the corner is an acorn. So small, sat on a bookshelf behind Harry's grandfather's desk. You look closely at the acorn and it sort of just rolls a little bit. And as you step to go towards it, you're on a lawn of grass that has been so finely cut. It is perfect. If you were to roll a ball bearing, it would roll perfectly. Looking at that and then looking up, there is a familiar feeling of when you first entered the oasis of the Summer Fair Realm, where you are on the edges of the oasis itself, but it is more perfect, more polished. There are symmetrical edges to it that just don't exist in the natural world. But you follow, you play the game. You are aware that you are in a realm that will show you things possibly, or not. But you have your bearings about you. You follow the same path you followed. Your determined footsteps to stand before Malika, the guardian, owner, ruler, whatever terminology the stories give to their form from the mortals. They are summer. But as you begin to follow the same path and you wind your way deeper into this immaculately so ethereal and beautiful that even as a fae of this realm, you can't help but feel that beauty all around you. And you have a very small inner smile, knowing that if a human walked in here, they'd be out. It'd overwhelm them. You come to the courtly area of the oasis. The waters sort of span round in a bit of a figure of eight, as they have small islands in those gaps of the eight. The annoying birds above you, the ravens and the crows, are disjointed from what you see before you. It feels good, familiar, memories flush back. You pause, look up, probably thinking about Eldritch blasting a crow or two, and you see in front of you a tall, proud, beautiful fae. Long conker brown hair, small green markings on their face, very familiar to yourself. And they are speaking with Malika, Summer incarnate. There is no way to describe Malika. No words have ever been invented by any race that can put description to Malika. You just know them as golden and summer. Their long flowing robes of every colour of summer you can possibly imagine flow out as if a long ball gown all around in a train. There is a conversation being had. You are assuming it is the same conversation you had. And then Malika strikes this image of yourself down, just waves their arm. There is a flash of radiant light. And you see yourself slain before Summer incarnate. Malika sits, not necessarily on a throne, but the stories would attribute it as a throne. A great tree grows around them, the palm leaves sort of folding over, giving a bit of a alcove to Malika. Then you notice creatures, definitely of your race. These small fair creatures, redcaps and boggits and pixies. They come out of the shrubbery of the oasis itself, and they pick up your slain form and take it into the waters. for you to never see it again. And as you follow it, and you look back at Malika, there is a small wormling. So a very small dragon-looking creature, no bigger than a large dog, say. And it is where you were slain. It has a dripping tar from its wings, its head, and it is sort of stomping about quite angrily in front of Malika. They do not react. They sit in their throne. The wormling begins to grow. And as it grows, this tar that is dripping from its form, its tail, its wings, there is less and less of this tar. And the oily black seems to wash away. There's nothing you see that washes it away, but that is the effect, as if you were to wash soap away from your body or such. You see this tar washing away from this draconic creature. It starts to stand on 2 feet, its tail out before it, the wings folding on the back, arms scaled with small claws, in a similar way that Sapphire portrays a lion in a bipedal form. So does this creature portray a draconic entity in bipedal form. You see the long conker brown hair, as you absentmindedly just touch yours, come from this draconic head. The head is sleek, not vicious. There are no protruding horns and spikes and scales. It is sleek and smooth, a bit like Wreck. Has that smooth gecko feel to it, almost snake-like, and the wings on the back. There is a moment from Malika where they stand and sort of move further back into their throne. That is not a throne. And they sort of push up into it. And you sense fear. Even from here, you can feel that fear, like you naturally, being Summer Breeze, know when summer's coming to an end, and you feel that fear. The draconic creature in front of you summons a blue and silver lance, and you sort of look at your hand. In its other hand, there is the glaive of summer that you brought with you, and it now holds 2 weapons. Ice encrusts both weapons slowly, and then, almost as if a mantle, you know, the cloak that pushes out, of frost and ice forms around the shoulders of this draconic creature and forms an ice hood, and small icicles hanging around the sides, imitating fur. It continues to grow, and the train from the cloak sweeps out and reaches down into the waters of the oasis and starts to freeze them. Malika becomes brave and steps forward and waves her hand as aggressively as they did when striking down yourself. The ice shatters. The draconic creature screams silently. Those crows and ravens noisy all around you. The ice all shatters as summer itself has said, not yet. It is not yet time for summer to end. The draconic creature begins to shrink into the small wormling again. Malika stands over it, their hand just above it, tar dripping from their hand onto the draconic creature. And it disappears. There's just a small puddles of tar in front of Malika. They stare at their hand, they're breathing heavy. They return to their palm-like alcove chair, and they sit. And you hear a voice behind you. You don't know what they said, but you recognise the voice. And as you turn, there is a satyr that is very large. There's something about him But the last time you saw this satyr, they were incredibly old. But the satyr before you was strong, vibrant, tall, stood high on hoof, a very familiar oaken staff in their hand, a beaming smile across their face. Xandria. And you recognise, yes. Well, looks around, and you now notice as he's looking around, you look around with him. You're on a muddy battlefield, filled with muddy water, trudged heavily, crows and ravens flying everywhere, and you can see not so old Oak in front of you. What the bloody hell are you doing here?
Oh, you know, the usual rescue missions.
And he keeps looking. Where's the rest of them?
Good question. Not entirely sure yet. I'm sure they'll make themselves, you know, visible as they generally tend to do eventually.
Well, I don't mind being here. Feel good. Been a while.
Yes, I was going to say, the last time I saw you, you weren't looking so sprightly.
Well, Toodles got a bright future ahead of her. She is blessed.
Yes, I was privy to that information beforehand.
I'm not saying I wasn't. I'm not saying I am. You kill.
Well, I expect nothing less from you, Okarion. You are ever a trickster at heart.
I try. Right, let's go find these little people. And you see now that Okarion at full height is 8.5 feet. Like Toodles, you notice that the satyr are big, but Okarion is embracing his name. Yeah, fucking unit. So
I just look up at Okarion and go, I liked it when you were closer to my height, but never mind.
Don't worry. If we ever get out of here, you can look down on me again.
Oh, I am looking forward to it.
Watch out for the trees.
Oh, let me guess, do they move?
I'll let you find out for yourself.
Wonderful. Come on then, old man.
And you still... and he's like almost ready to bang out a few push-ups. I don't mind. Oh, old is definitely younger than I was. And you start walking. Ari, Sapphire and Kesvion, you notice this massive oak tree getting closer. And closer. And shrinking. And shrinking. And you see two forms crest a hill you don't actually think's there. A very large satyr and a conker-haired, beautiful fair warrior.
Drea?
Hello. Oh, it was easier than I thought it was to find you. Oh, by the way, Okarion, yay! You know, nothing can ever be simple around here, can it?
Akari walks up to Sapphire, just to be like, "How do, Sapphire? Looking strong." And pats you on the shoulder, like for no reason, quite heavily.
So you're looking a lot healthier than last time I saw you.
Oh, echoes, my boy, echoes.
Of course.
So are you not the one we've encountered before? But you know us.
So, I'm older than this place, this magic. This is new to the world. Therefore, who or whatever has brought it, still messing about with it. Now an enormous eagle came to me in a dream. It was very dramatic. Called themselves Arnulf. Asked me to come to this realm. Because there be eagles that need help in fly. Now the only other eagle I know is the wee man over there. Just nods towards Harry.
I mean, he's doing relatively well for flying. Did actually jump off the wall and fly, so he's getting better, I guess.
It's about time, lad. Go on, Tsunami.
Did either of you see Ruby?
No, not yet.
Ruby. Ruby. Ah. And he kind of goes into that when he first met Ruby. He was taken aback by a human to carry such beauty. She'll be right, lad. She'll be right.
She's strong, but she's been through a lot recently. This place is difficult.
Well, it seems quite nice.
Akarian looks at you, Harry. I didn't know you carried the blood of our people, little eagle. Did not see that in the material realm.
Apparently so.
Well, that is a turn up for the books. Right, well.
Well, we can go one step further in, you know, blood of our people and it being funny, and then just gestures between Ari and Kess. They got some weird marriage going on, I don't know.
Dragon split soul, yeah, it's a whole thing. Where do we start? We need to find Ruby, and we need to work out with your brother, and yeah, we need to. We shouldn't stay here long.
That's no problem. There's a place just down there, serves great. They've got a bit of spice to it, but it's a mead. It's a real nice mead. It's spicy though.
Why am I not surprised that you know where the closest place is to get a drink?
Well, drink, food, snacks. Some habits never die.
I suppose that could be a good place to start. Figuring out where Ruby is, I guess. It's better than standing here.
I mean, standing here got us all together, but I guess.
Yeah.
We'll need to get Ruby.
We might
later.
happen upon Stefan. He seems to be a reasonably jovial sort. Lead on.
I can lead you on to the village, and then we try and get a bit of information. It's real here, but not. It's strange. People are people, but just be on the whatever you lot call it, lookout. And he starts trudging. He is loving life. He is striding deliberately at pace to make some of you lot with short legs catch up. Sapphire's just like, what? Just why are you walking so slowly?
Normal pace.
Why are you walking so slowly? And you start heading off wherever it is Arcarian is leading you. Ruby. The mirror smashes. You take a breath, you're in a bit of a shock as the glass breaks. You do your insta-check, number, head count. Everyone's here. How many babies are here? 1, 2, 3, 4. No babies. You look around. No Kess, no Harry, no Sapphire, no Xandria. However, the very strong, familiar smell of heather and the very unfamiliar sound of crows and ravens flying high above. You take in the heather, kind of ignore the noisy birds in the sky. Breathe it deep. You look around the rolling hills of the Tolan Highlands. You see the forests with small plumes of smoke coming out of them, where you know the gnomish tribes are just having something to eat. Getting a campfire going. Maybe sharpening a weapon or two. Just chilling out, getting ready for a hunt. Who knows? And then you look across and you see the huts and the halls built into the hillside and such of the clans of the halflings. And you can see their colours of tartan in certain areas. It's almost like you are above and looking down, but you'd have to be really high to see the spread of the Tolan Highlands, yet you can see it just from standing on this hill. And you start picking out the different clans and the pockets of different coloured tartan and the tribes of gnomes moving through the forest and up into the highlands. And you see small markets that are deliberately set out for the gnomes and halflings to come together, tribe and clan, to trade, whether that be furs, wool, fruits, stories, songs, both or all for everything. You see a few horses far off what you know to be the east, where the hills reach the coast eventually, and there's just cliffs. You see this herd of horses, several of them, blacks and whites and greys, and there is one you know to be blue, which is the speckled grey colouring on the horse with the white underbelly. Yeah, that's a beautiful horse. It's the only blue one there. And then as the horses around it, they start to leave and disappear over the hills, and this blue grey speckled horse starts making its way over the hills to you. It's surreal, and every time it dips and reappears, it's closer and closer. As it comes closer, its mane is almost white gold as it flows down one side of it. This is a strong, strong beast. It's thick, tall, broad. But the thing that sticks out the most, no pun intended, there is a horn in its forehead that reaches out about 4 feet in front of it, which doesn't look that big. That's how big this horse is. The horn itself seems to be made of some sort of pearl coloured, like, it's not as ivory as, like, you know, it doesn't have that mucky bone look as hoofs or like the ram's horns or anything. This is a pearl coloured.
Mother of pearl.
Yes.
Oyster shell.
Yes, oyster shell, there you go. As this horn reaches out from this beautiful, beautiful blue coloured horse. And it's now next to you. You're not quite sure how it got all the way to you. You just sort of notice it's now next to you. You can imagine some folk being around this horse to kind of back away. Its presence is here. You know. Nothing do you feel. You feel no intimidation from this creature. It is familiar to you. It is. You swear you've seen it before. And you instinctively reach out and just start patting the flanks. And it starts just hitting the floor, its front legs, and then sort of nuzzles into you. You are quite tall, and this very large horse nuzzles in, and you accept it, and you are now patting its neck, stroking it, and you are basically pals with this horse.
Boy.
As you are sort of like giving it scritches, you run your hand down the neck and you feel leather. And you sort of like look away from the horse's head now. Thank you for the raid, Dice of Beholder. You look away from the horse's head and look down its flanks, and there is a saddle on there. Your tartan is the underlay for the saddle, and then there is a beautifully curved horn leathered saddle sat, buckled, strapped. These stirrups are at the right level for someone of your size, and it just sort of turns its flank to you.
Did you want to be saddled?
Its front leg just... I'll not attempt to do horse noises for fear of Peter getting hold of me.
So is there, when I speak to it as I speak to literally any other creature I come across, it doesn't respond to me.
Not verbally.
Ruby moves to undo the saddle. Doesn't see any reason why a beast would need to be saddled.
The horse
This
lets you.
appears to be some kind of free horse. It doesn't appear to be anyone's livestock.
The horse lets you desaddle. And you, quite expertly, growing up around such chores, remove the saddle. If you attempt to remove your tartan, the horse steps away from you. Not aggressively, just...
No, just alright then. Keep your tartan.
And then it kneels on its front legs next to you. The tartan doesn't slip, it remains on its back. And then it
sure?
tries to nuzzle towards you.
If you like. And Ruby will hop on.
As soon as you're on
Side saddle.
the horse stands, and you now are aware, good 18, possibly more, hands high. You look down. Are you side travelling, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the horse sets off across the highlands. At first you're a little bit jerked, but then you realise you can't fall off this beast. It will catch you, and you trust it to catch you. And that relationship is ironclad. Over the highlands you go. Whee! You'll be coming around the mountains. You are now on plains of grass. Wind flowing in your hair. Jeremiah clinging on for dear life. On the like two strands like
He's buried down.
yeah. With a flying hat and goggles on. You look back the way you came, and you see the highlands quite literally rolling away from you, and you're pounding across this plain, this blue steed, the horn from its forehead, just galloping and galloping, its white gold mane flowing as your hair flows. All around you see stars rolling, the moon rolling, as if days and night are passing. You dip round, the plain dips low, and you come up, and as you come up, before you is a land of lava. Volcanoes reaching up from the ground towards the sky. Lava pools flowing over the top of the volcano down, cracks in the ground. It's an absolute vision of fire and ash before you. Beast does not stop, galloping and galloping. And then you notice, as you're like, I hope we're going into a bit of fire here. Other creatures have joined this gallop. Small creatures, rabbits, ferrets, squirrels, Jeremiah's, cousins, all keeping pace with this horse. They're not doing it in a shit. They are just gliding across the plain as you are. Birds, mainly raven and crow, are flying with you at your head level. And galloping and galloping. Yes, Jade. And galloping and galloping. More and more creatures start joining us, and you have a very large entourage of animals with you. You don't know how long it would take. The expanse of lava and fire and ash that you saw, you don't know how long it would take to traverse, but you are across it. And the horse starts to hit thud, 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 and you look down, and it is galloping, or at least trying to gallop through thick, heavy snow with a deep, arcane blue. And you see the mountains of ice shards reaching up as tall as some of the cliffs, and the Pride Mountains themselves from back home. The contrast of fire and ash as you see just a glowing embers falling away behind you as this beast carries on galloping, and all these creatures around you now. You now are gathering these snow leopards. There's a small white bear just all galloping with you. You look now, you couldn't count the amount of beasts that have joined and birds that have joined you on this gallop. Large creatures with 8 legs in the distance, if you were to be before them, probably tower over you by several feet, crawling up and climbing up these ice shard mountains. You see caves, stupidly big, could only be the home to a bear the size of a mountain itself. All the ice has an edge of arcane blue about it, that real shock lightning blue, not like the snow or the natural snows that fall in the highlands. You see now as you flick between ash and fire, ice and snow. Details fade, and you are just left with the embers of blue and the embers of orange either side of you, just merging now with the scenery. You look down as thick mud, as if you're galloping across a sodden battlefield, as these embers of blue and orange fade all around you. And now you look and you are just on this field of mud, water, sloshing and trudging, flicking up, absolutely coating this this blue, beautiful horse, covering it in the mud of this battlefield. You notice now that the creatures and birds are falling away. There's still the crows and the ravens now flying around you as opposed to alongside of you, dive bombing the battlefield, whatever are carrying thereafter. Stood in front of you is a humanoid shape. The horse comes to a halt. You feel eyes staring at you on the back of the horse. The creature does this with its hands, just flicks its hands, and 2 blades, one of fire and one of ice, appear in its hands.
Lightsabers.
I am your father. Appear in its hands, and then you see ice and fire as one form all around its body, forming similar armor and protection that you've seen Ari or Kess or, you know, just any of the warriors on the wall encasing themselves in protection. This fire and ice sort of just becoming one, and a great helm of fire and ice blue eyes. You just hear a very simple voice. You evaded me once, child. When you return to my realm, you will not evade me again. Nothing but smaller motes of blue and orange just fade away. The horse starts to stamp angrily, but you don't feel at any moment that you'll fall. Ahead of you, you see 5 humanoid shapes. 2 very large ones. One of those large ones is pure white with bits and bobs on them, and the other 3 are slightly smaller. And they are a good distance ahead of you. What do you do, Ruby?
Pushing my luck, I give the gentle squeeze with my knees that on a normal horse would encourage it to walk forwards.
The creature reacts.
So we're just walking. In that case, while mounted, I continue riding, but at a walking pace towards my friends until I reach them.
The galloping of horse hoofs that you heard before, some of you, causes you to turn. Coming towards you is a blue gelding, a beautiful large beast, with a pearlescent horn 4 feet from its forehead, and on the back is a divinely beautiful, angelic young human girl with a little mouse sat on their shoulder, as you see your friend Ruby as you've never seen her before. And as she approaches, that is where we will end the session.
Bum, bum, bum.
Boom, boom, boom. Roll initiative. Shit the bed. Right, sorry. Right, fucking hell. Let's do this because we're late. Thank you very much. We're going to raid, so hang about. Thank you very much for watching. We went on 20 minutes later than normal. If you want to find out what all that build-up was for, please go watch the other 336 hours on YouTube. But yeah, you can check it on the VOD for at least the next 60 days. You can watch it on YouTube. Or you can just keep following us every Tuesday, 8 till 11 p.m. BST, GMT. BST is probably your best bet. Thank you so much. BLT,
Oh, man.
Mackie D, what? Please check out all our sponsors, Loki Battlemax, Coyote Grey, Ashana and Ruffworx Creative. Amazing. They make it possible for us to do stuff. Thank you to you lot. The raids, the subs, the re-rolls that I don't think anyone used. Anything like that, the follows, please spread the love. Thank you very much for hopefully enjoying our story so far. We're going to bugger off now because we're late, but we are going to raid, so please stick around, do the raid, give your love to TS my love, as I get the spelling correctly and don't get shot in the face. Ding,
Yeah,
ding,
don't
ding.
get shot in the face.
I know it's
Did you notice
it
anything
hurts.
unusual?
Hey, oh, what's going on there? Right, so let me do this proper like. Right, so players, for now, say goodbye, players.
Bye,
Goodbye,
players.
Bye, players.
Thank you. You guys are muted. Right, you can still hear me, folks. We're gonna raid. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna raid. Don't go anywhere. Don't you dare.